The Galactic Empire had ruled the stars for millennia, a monolithic power extending across countless worlds. Its dominion was absolute, its enemies crushed beneath the weight of its vast fleets and endless legions. For the citizens of the core worlds, the Empire was eternal, a cosmic force as immutable as the stars themselves. No outsider had ever posed a serious threat. Until now. Fleet Marshal Terran Velker stood aboard the Imperial Dreadnought Sovereign's Wrath, gazing out at the expanse of space through the warship's towering viewport. His features, sharp and hardened by years of command, remained impassive as data feeds scrolled across the holographic display in front of him. His was a life of war, battles fought against rebellious worlds and upstart colonies. He expected today to be no different, just another feudal rebellion crushed beneath the Empire's boot. "Marshal, we have detected multiple unidentified vessels emerging from hyperspace," reported Commander Lyra Venick, her voice clipped but edged with something rarely heard aboard an Imperial bridge, unease. "Configuration unknown." Velker frowned, stepping closer. The Empire's war machine had catalogued every significant starship design in the galaxy. Unknown configurations meant one of two things: pirates wielding scavenged ships or some backwater species playing at war. He dismissed the thought. No power of consequence remained outside the Empire's reach. "Deploy reconnaissance probes. I want full fleet composition details within the hour," he ordered. Across the void, hidden behind a moon's dark side, humanity's fleet waited in grim silence. It had been 2 decades since the Empire's warships had appeared over Earth's outer colonies, obliterating them without warning or reason. The survivors' stories were of unyielding brutality: cities burned from orbit, entire populations reduced to ash. Earth's government collapsed in the aftermath, but humanity endured, forged into something far more dangerous than the Empire ever imagined. Admiral Elias Rourke, commander of the Resolute, studied the tactical display with calm intensity. His features were worn by sleepless nights, his steel-gray eyes reflecting the cold determination of a man with nothing left to lose. He'd lived through the fall of Earth's colonies and vowed long ago that humanity would never be helpless again. "Status?" he asked quietly. "Fleet is in position," replied Captain Lynn Morrow, her voice steady. "All stealth systems operational. Enemy has not detected us." Rourke nodded. Their ships were technological marvels, products of desperation and genius. Humanity's last, defiant gamble. The Empire believed Earth to be a forgotten, broken world. They would learn differently, and soon. "Execute Phase 1, Rourke ordered. Back aboard Sovereign's Wrath, alarms blared as Imperial sensor grids lit up with sudden, overwhelming precision strikes. Orbital defense platforms shattered in synchronized explosions, leaving the Imperial fleet's flanks exposed. Tactical displays erupted with emergency markers as entire outposts ceased transmitting. "Impossible!" Velker barked, his composure finally slipping. "Where did they come from? Identify those ships." The Imperial bridge crew scrambled to comply, but the enemy fleet moved with ruthless efficiency. Within moments, a vanguard of sleek, menacing warships emerged from the shadows, their hulls glimmering with energy signatures no Imperial database recognized. They attacked with surgical precision, overwhelming defenses and scattering Imperial picket lines like leaves in a storm. "Marshal, incoming transmission," shouted Venick. "It's open channel." Velker straightened, fixing his eyes on the flickering holodisplay as a human figure appeared, Admiral Rourke, clad in a worn, combat-stained uniform. His expression was devoid of malice, colder than the void itself. "This is Admiral Elias Rourke of the Human Expeditionary Fleet." His voice was steady, without arrogance or mercy. "You came to our worlds. You slaughtered our people. We are here to return the favor." The transmission cut off before Velker could respond. For the first time in his career, he felt the hollow sting of fear, a sensation foreign and unwelcome. The war had begun. The Imperial fleet reeled under the sudden assault, disoriented by the ruthless precision of humanity's opening strike. Fragmented reports flooded Fleet Marshal Terran Velker's command interface, devastated outposts, annihilated patrols, and shattered supply lines. A full-scale invasion. Impossible. No species outside the Empire had the resources, let alone the audacity, to mount such an offensive. Yet the evidence lay in flaming wreckage scattered across the stars. "Marshal, enemy ships are advancing in battle formation," Commander Lyra Venick reported, her voice steady but tight with suppressed urgency. "Multiple capital-class vessels. Configuration still unknown. Weapon output far exceeds projected limits." Velker clenched his fists behind his back, concealing his growing unease. The enemy's ships moved with chilling coordination, like predators executing a well-rehearsed hunt. Their designs were unlike anything in the Imperial database. Angular, predatory warships armed with devastating energy lances and precision-guided kinetic weapons. Humanity had not only survived, it had evolved into something far deadlier than the Empire's bureaucrats ever anticipated. On the Resolute's command deck, Admiral Elias Rourke surveyed the unfolding battle with the intensity of a war sculptor shaping destruction. His every command was calculated, every maneuver anticipated. Decades of quiet preparation and bitter resolve now coalesced into the symphony of war playing out before him. "Enemy dreadnought targeting vector shifting. Predict probable firing solution," Rourke ordered, never looking away from the tactical display. Captain Lynn Morrow's fingers flew over her console. "Calculating. They'll lock onto our command group in 42 seconds. Rourke gave a curt nod. "Deploy decoy formation Omega. Redirect fire onto Fleet Group Ardent and prepare counter-barrage." Without hesitation, the human fleet fragmented into a twisting pattern of evasive maneuvers, their formation dissolving like scattering embers, only to reform in deadly precision moments later. Imperial targeting systems struggled to compensate. In contrast, humanity's AI-driven tactical networks anticipated every Imperial response, predicting weaknesses with ruthless accuracy. On Sovereign's Wrath, Velker watched in stunned disbelief as the Imperial Dreadnought Judgment's hand absorbed multiple direct hits, its reinforced armor cracking under concentrated fire. How could these upstarts, a species dismissed as primitive outlanders, wield such advanced warcraft? The scale of humanity's technological leap defied all reason. "Marshal, the enemy is adapting to our fleet's maneuvers," Venick warned. "They're exploiting our standard engagement protocols." "Then abandon the protocols," Velker snapped. "Initiate full combat override. Relinquish fleet coordination to the AI Nexus." Across the Imperial fleet, command systems surged as artificial intelligence routines seized control, bypassing sluggish human reaction times. A swarm of automated attack wings launched, cutting through the void with mechanical precision, intent on overwhelming humanity's seemingly invincible formation. But Rourke had expected this. "Enemy AI systems engaging," Captain Morrow confirmed grimly. "Activate Contingency Zeta," Rourke ordered. From concealed positions across the battlefield, humanity's electronic warfare ships emerged, compact but bristling with specialized disruptor arrays. Bursts of electromagnetic interference cascaded across the Imperial network like wildfire. Imperial ships staggered, systems faltering, targeting arrays blinded. On the Imperial flagship, command interfaces blinked erratically. Velker slammed his fist into the armrest, fury blazing in his eyes. "How are they doing this? We are the Empire." His anger was met with hollow silence as yet another Imperial cruiser exploded in a searing flash of plasma and fire. But even amidst the storm of war, Velker's strategic mind refused to yield. Rage tempered into calculation. He had not survived decades of conquest by relying on brute strength alone. Humanity was adaptable, but so was he. "Order all remaining forces to regroup at Point Sigma," Velker commanded, his voice steeled with resolve. "Prepare a counter-assault. No more underestimating them." As the shattered remnants of the Imperial fleet regrouped, Admiral Rourke watched with cold satisfaction. They had won this first engagement, but he knew the war was far from over. Humanity's revenge had only just begun. Wreckage drifted in the silent void, twisted remnants of Imperial warships scattered like broken monuments to a fallen empire. Humanity's fleet moved among the ruins with calculated precision, its formation unmarred, every warship poised for the next strike. Fires still raged aboard the crippled Imperial dreadnought Judgment's Hand, its mighty hull breached in a dozen places, its once proud banners burned away. The Empire's veil of invincibility was gone. Admiral Elias Rourke stood at the heart of the Resolute's command deck, his sharp gaze fixed on the tactical display. His expression remained impassive, though a cold sense of purpose burned behind his steel-gray eyes. The first engagement had been a bloody success, but he allowed himself no satisfaction. War was only beginning, and survival demanded relentless focus. "Status report," he ordered. Captain Lynn Morrow stepped forward, her voice steady despite the exhaustion weighing on her features. "Primary objectives secured. Enemy forces routed. No significant losses on our side." She paused. "We've also intercepted emergency Imperial transmissions. Fleet Marshal Velker survived." Rourke's expression hardened. Velker was a formidable tactician, known for his brutal campaigns and uncompromising will. Leaving him alive had never been part of the plan. "Prepare Strike Group Delta," Rourke commanded. "We hit their forward bases before they can regroup." Morrow hesitated. "Admiral, with respect, shouldn't we consolidate? We've already broken their first line." Rourke's gaze locked onto hers, cold and unyielding. "We don't stop until they fall. Every delay costs lives. Every hour we give them is a chance to strike back." She nodded, grim understanding settling over her. Mercy was a luxury humanity could no longer afford. Aboard the damaged Sovereign's Wrath, Fleet Marshal Terran Velker surveyed the shattered remnants of his fleet with cold fury. His officers moved with the precision of those who feared failure more than death, but defeat clung to the air like smoke from burning wreckage. The humans had humiliated them. It was an offense that could not be tolerated or forgiven. "Marshal, incoming Fleet Command communique," announced Commander Lyra Vinick, her tone clipped but strained. "Imperial High Command has declared Condition Omega. Total war authorization." Velker's lips thinned into a grim line. Condition Omega, the Empire's final directive. No diplomacy, no retreat, no surrender. Only total annihilation of the enemy. For the first time in his long career, the Empire had invoked it against an adversary other than rebellious colonies. "Transmit the order to all surviving fleets," Velker commanded. "Prepare for counteroffensive operations." Vinick hesitated. "Marshal, should we request reinforcements from the core systems?" Velker's eyes burned with quiet rage. "No. This is our war." He had seen empires rise and fall, systems conquered and burned to ash. Humanity's sudden ascent was a breach of the galaxy's natural order, but he would restore it, whatever the cost. In the void between stars, both fleets readied themselves, one fighting for vengeance, the other for survival. The war that neither side could afford to lose had only just begun.